Greetings, LEGO fans! As a fan of both the Western theme and LEGO trains, I was delighted when the Bricklink Designer Program chose the Wild West train as one of its finalists for Series 4. Designed by Llucky, who also designed the excellent General Store from Series 1, this set retailed for $280 US and has 3,192 pieces. Today, I'm not only going to review this set, but I'll also bring it to life on my ceiling track setup to see just how well it can work as a running train in my own Western diorama. So let's dig in. The bulk of the set, unsurprisingly, is the train itself, featuring the locomotive and tender, a flat car carrying cargo, a passenger car, and a boxcar for horses. The locomotive looks spectacular, really selling the look of the era and brimming with detail. It really does look like a working steam engine, with valves, machinery, and literal bells and whistles ornamenting its frame. The cab is also one of the most detailed I've seen on a train of this scale, providing plenty of knobs and gauges for the engineer. There were some puzzling design decisions made here that makes motorizing it a tad tricky, but I'll get to that in a bit. Next up, we have the tender. It's pretty basic, featuring a large coal cache and a shovel, but the color scheme and the stickered elements on the side do give it class. Luckily, it was designed with motorization in mind, leaving a hollow space for a powered-up hub and an easily swappable set of rear wheels for the motor. However, like the locomotive, there are a couple of things that make this tender a bit of a pain when motorizing. But again, we'll get there, I promise. Trailing the tender is the flat car, which carries an array of small builds including a piano, a working safe, and some crates and barrels, all secured with studded strings. This car was added late in the design process, and honestly, though I like some of the little builds, it's probably the car I would have left out, as it was in the original design. Frankly, I prefer the look of the overall train without it, so I might just use it for parts in the future. Next, we have possibly my favorite car of the whole train, the passenger car. This stunningly detailed luxury coach absolutely nails the Western aesthetic, and the easily accessible interior looks cozy and inviting. My only criticisms here are the flimsy rails on the front and back, as well as the brick-built doors on either end, which inflate the piece count with no real benefit. Finally, we have the boxcar. This thing also looks great, with the building technique used for the walls faithfully reproducing the look of worn wooden planks. The sliding door in the middle is perfect for loading and unloading, while roof access gives you a good look at what's inside, which in this case is a horse, some hay and feed, and some wall-mounted tools. In addition to the train, we're also given a few side builds. The first is a track segment that's just long enough for the train. It provides a bit of desert terrain as well as brown tiles to replicate the look of railroad ties. It's an appreciated inclusion, especially if this is going to be used primarily as a display piece. Next, we have this rustic windmill. This is easily my favorite side build, as there's just something about this type of windmill that evokes the Old West. It spins and articulates perfectly and even includes some nice little details on the ground, such as a water trough and an abandoned liquor bottle. Next to the windmill is this large water tower. The completed product looks great, but boy was it a pain to build. The interior structure of the reservoir itself was pure tedium, using an unnecessarily convoluted and hugely piece count inflating building technique that had me needing a break every few minutes. After spending a lot of time building comparatively satisfying retro builds, this reminded me that sometimes exhaustive detail just isn't quite as fun as simplicity. The tower itself also feels a bit flimsy in its completed form, so handle with care. The set also features a generous supply of minifigures, 12 in total, and 3 horses. These characters range from high-class passengers to crew members and even some would-be train robbers. Much like with any set from the Bricklink Designer Program, they're limited to pretty generic designs, but it's nice to get a good selection of figures to flesh out the world. At the end of the day, I would have gladly skipped the water tower, the flat car, and possibly a few of the minifigures to drastically reduce the piece count and the price. The train is a beauty on its own, and it would have been nice to keep this set a bit more accessible in that way. But enough about the look of the set. How does it actually run on a track? Well, let's find out. Motorizing this train is pretty easy on paper, as all you need is a powered-up hub and a train motor. Pop open the top of the tender and remove the 4 included posts, and you've got a perfectly sized spot for the hub. It's a bit of a tight squeeze getting it in there with the motor plugged in, but a little finagling will get you there just fine. Installing the motor is as simple as popping off the existing rear wheels and just placing the motor in its place. It's nice to see that the designer had all of this in mind when creating the set. And now, with the remote paired up, we're ready for the moment of truth. Will this thing run smoothly? That's not looking too great. Upon hitting the first turn in my setup, the train seized up. Turns out the culprit was these 2 cylinders on the front of the locomotive. When turning, they'd get in the way and limit the train's ability to follow the curve. This struck me as a bit odd because I swear I've seen other people motorize this train with no problem at all with those cylinders. Did I build it wrong? I don't know. But possible human error aside, I shortened these by 1 rounded brick so that the front could enjoy an uninhibited side-to-side movement. And voila, it worked beautifully. The only other snag I ran into was the front set of wheels on the tender. In their stock configuration, they're on a turntable, which makes them chaotically spin when moving. Replacing the 2x2 turntable with a standard 2x2 plate keeps it secure. Even after this modification, however, the front wheels still liked to jump the track every once in a while. I chalked this up to a bit of downward tension from the wire on the rear wheels, leading to a lack of friction for the less load-bearing front wheels. Adding a bit of plate underneath the wheels helped balance that out a bit, and now it's running pretty smoothly. The roughest part of the setup is the 2 flex track sections, but it makes it through these about 9 out of 10 times with no problems. With a ceiling setup posing some higher stakes than your regular tabletop layout, I'm gonna keep tinkering with this to make it 100%. But for standard curves, this thing is good to go, both forward and backward, with the rolling stock working flawlessly from the get-go. This slick roller now joins my Lone Ranger train as the 2nd Western-themed locomotive in my layout. I'm working on creating a place where it can rest on the side while the other trains run, but I'm loving this new member of my LEGO train fleet. If you want to pick up one of your own, I'd check your local Facebook marketplace or classified listings, as people often sell off their second copies for close to retail price shortly after they're shipped out. For Western lovers, this set is a no-brainer and will no doubt look fantastic in many Western dioramas to come. Thank you once again to the members of the Brick Guild for making this video possible, and thank you for watching. For more videos about LEGO Western, click on the playlist on your screen. And until next time, keep building.